You picked a fine time to update me, eBay. I've got 4 hungry gerbils and bills to pay. You picked a fine time for an update, eBay. Hello, YouTube. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I didn't forget. I was busy. And then my auntie came, and one thing led to another, and I didn't get time to do it. So I'm going to do an August sales update, because I've got the full month of August. So I'm going to do a little roundup. So, our August takings this year were not far off what we want. Well, really, on a 28-day month, we would want 14,000. So on a 31-day month, we would want 15,500. But we're getting closer. £13,898 for the month, gross. 2018, we did 8,645. So that's plus 5,253 on last year. I've got this like white spot on my nose. I've had it for years. And it's getting bigger. It's like under the surface. I'm going to have to get a scalpel to that or something. It's like real hard, sort of like protein or something. I don't know what it is, but it's really, really annoying me. Spoiling me devilish good looks. Yeah, so right, 90-day total, last time I updated you, was 31,584. Now it's 33,726. So that's another 2,140 of the 90-day average. We've got a packed show of mediocre rubbish. So, before we get onto the packed show, let's finish the figures, shall we? You know, let's try that like professionals. So we've got 48,540 items listed, and we have listed stock of £385,511, up from £375,647 2 weeks ago when I updated you. So there's another £10,000 worth of stock net gone on, plus the sales. So we're back on the scene like a listed machine. Yeah, so last time I forgot to do the poems, which was terribly unprofessional. I forgot to do this day in history, or did I do that? I can't remember now. Yeah, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to do the poems that I should have done last time. Got this day in history. I have got eBay, is it easy or what? Little rundown of all the things you've got to do to be successful on eBay and sell one item properly. And then we've got a little quick look at the autumn update. So, I think we've done everything on the taking side now, have we? Oh yeah, just another little bit of news. Look at all that there. You can see right through it, can't you? Yeah, just a little bit of news. I got my credit report this week, and for the first time ever in the history of credit reports for me, I'm in excellence. I'm an excellent credit risk now. 933 out of 999. So I'm happy with that. We've got enough money in the bank now to clear the credit card that I used to purchase one of the auction lots 4 or 5 weeks ago. The bill's due on the 20th, I think, of September, so I'm going to clear it on the 18th, which will then give that credit card, will then be back free to use if I find some stock. But I'm in no rush to buy any stock, but it'll be there if I need it. Yeah, so we're working out, this is a comeback out of hospital. I had £313,000 worth of stock listed when I came out of hospital, because obviously, you know, stuff had been selling and we haven't been restocking it. to any degree. I think there was, before I went in hospital, it was like 320 odd thousand. Now we've come back out, and the weeks have gone on. We've got 385,500, but we've also sold £38,987,000 worth of sales in those 14 or 15 weeks. So that's £111,587 worth of stock that's gone on since I come back out of hospital, and we're still not through all the stuff that we bought. So the working capital's paid off because we borrowed 28, we've listed 111, there's still loads to go on, and I spent £5 of it on a car as well. So really we only used 23 of it for stock, plus money we took in the meantime. So that's it for that side of it. So the poem, yeah. Oh, I forgot. Back on the Heineken, 000 with a red star there, which always makes me think it's a bit communist. So I'll just open that. I'll move my keyboard out of the way because I've put my keyboard down there. I don't want to be spilling beer on my keyboard. I'll have to go buy another one. Right, so the John Cooper Clarke poem is, it takes me back, sort of, this one, to my days of taxi driving, because some of the customers that we used to get in could be quite intimidating. And this is called Drive, She Said. I hit the deck like a ton of lard, when the back of my neck hit something hard, a yard of lead and a judo chop. Drive, she said, I'll tell you when to stop. Up my sleeve she stuck me with a spike, said you can leave whenever I like. Give me bread, take me round the shops. Drive, she said, I'll tell you when to stop. There was eloquence, style and pose, and pure malevolence in her voice. Move it, man, chop chop. Drive, she said, I'll tell you when to stop. She wore leatherette jeans, airwear shoes. I've never yet seen such a rare hairdo. A natty dread with a borstal crop. Drive, she said, I'll tell you when to stop. A morbid silence fills the air. Threats of violence always there. Streets ahead, now take me round the block. Drive, she said, I'll tell you when to stop. What she cried, I never heard. As doors slide and voices blurred, the lights were red, stuck on stop. Drive, she said, I'll tell you when to stop. There was an eloquence, style and poise, and pure malevolence in her voice. Move it, man, chop chop. Drive, she said, I'll tell you when to stop. Yeah, I had a few customers like that, usually men. Where you going, mate? Just drive. Just drive that way. This was the days before we had like computer controls, which told us where a job was going. In the early days of taxi, you used to get a job over the radio, so I was taxi driving in Eccles at the time, so on a busy Saturday night, the way that taxis work is they divide the area up into plots, and if there's no work, the cars rank up on those plots, and you take it in turns for getting a job. So we had 4 plots to cover the 4 areas of Eccles. So you had like plot 1, plot 2, plot 3 and plot 4. So as soon as you drop your fare off, if it was quiet and they weren't free calling work, you just go, I was blue 12 then. Blue 12 and plot 2. And you go, you're 5 on 2, blue 12. So you just sit there on plot 2 then, and that covered like a few miles square area. So as the jobs come up on plot 2, then I'm 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then I'm top of the plot, so the next job's mine. But when it's busy, and there's more work than drivers, on the old system with the radios, they would have to free call work. So they'd be going on there, they'd be saying, I need some drivers, what you doing, pushing milk floats and all this sort of thing. I want Patrick Peel, Green, Brookhouse, Argosy, Cadizhead, Folly Lane, all these different areas, Ellesmere, Park, Oldham, New Hope Hospital, Salford, any cars down Salford. So obviously she's calling this out constantly like a bingo caller, and then you're cutting in. You just go like blue 12, she go blue 12, read on, and then you just say, well, I'm dropping Patchcroft, and she'll give you the next job in Patchcroft or the nearest job to where you're dropping. So obviously if a customer got in and went, you know, you picked them up, you don't know where you're going, because those days you just got the job. She'd give you the job, you have to remember it, because there's no computer screens. Whereas later, when we have a computerised booking system, you'd get a computerised job, it'd tell you where to pick up, and usually it'd tell you where they were going. And then you just confirm with them when they got in where they were going. But obviously, on the older system, with the radios, I had to remember it was 3 Balmoral Drive, and then half the time you'd forget, and you'd have to call back in and say, what was that address again, and all that. So, picking up at 3 Balmoral Drive, he gets in, and I say, alright mate, where do you want to go? Just drive. Well, just drive where? Listen, I'll tell you what I'm doing. You're just the driver, just drive. You know, proper attitude like. So I don't know where to call for them, you know. So we used to get that a lot. So that poem, Drive, she said, reminds me of those days. Yeah. So next, we've done that. We've got a Winston Does Rock, of course. Because he likes a bit of the old rock, did Winston, apparently, when he used to time travel into the future. So here we go. This is quite appropriate, this one, because it's World War II based. Ain't no hope in hell. Nothing gonna bring us down. The way we fly. 5 miles off the ground. Because we shoot to kill, and you know, we always will. It's a bomber. It's a bomber. Scream 1,000 miles. Feel the black death rising moan. Firestorm coming closer. Napalm to the bone. Because, you know, we do it right. A mission every night. It's a bomber. It's a bomber. It's a bomber. Yeah, so that's old Winston. Only doing Motorhead. It's a bomber. The bomber. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever seen Motorhead live. We used to watch them every year. They always used to come about November time. They used to do the tour pre-Christmas, and they always used to do, well, in recent years, I should say, the Manchester Apollo. They never did the big arena. They did the Apollo. And what they used to do at the Apollo was, it's been a theatre for years, and it's a bit scruffy and worn out now. Used to have a cinema at the side, but the cinema's closed down long ago. But what they do is, when they have a band on, like one of the rock bands, like Motorhead or whatever, they take all the seats out in the stalls. The circle still has its seats, but the stalls, they take all the seats out, so it's just like a sloping floor. But no crash barriers, nothing like that. It's just like, and then they just fill it with people. The only bit of crash barriers you got is around the mixing desk. So it can be a bit hard on the legs, that, for a, middle-aged gentleman of large proportions. And then you can't sit down on the floor. They start telling you off if you sit down on the floor. You've got to stand up, and it's one of them. You can't lean against the wall at the ends because of the fire exits, bouncers in there, what have you. But it's rocking. I mean, a band like Motorhead, as they were, I mean, obviously, Lemmy's dead now. For a 3-piece band, you'll struggle to find anyone louder than them. Absolutely unbelievable. It's one of them that when they're playing in a small venue like that, you can feel your diaphragm inside your body moving to the bloody music. Really, really loud. I'm just trying to think if they had a support. Last time I went there, they had a support, and it was a Swedish female rock band called Crucified Barbara, and they were really, really good as well, and very, very easy on the eye. But yeah, Lemmy didn't care about the smoking ban, carried on smoking throughout the gig, couldn't give a toss. And I always used to love the way he used to have his mic, you know, like up at an angle and then pointing down like that. Absolutely brilliant. And they had that rig, that lighting rig that was like a bomber with all the lights on it. And if ever a show was going bad, he always used to say to one of the roadies, "Quick, stick the fucking bomber on. We'll get them going," you know. So yeah, Motorhead and Lemmy, probably some of the best gigs I've been to have been at the Apollo. Seen Squeeze there several times. In the 80s I saw Rick Mayall and Ben Elton there with, who else was there that day? It was sort of like at the height of the Young Ones, but it was a live show. Ben Elton did stand up, then Rick Mayall did stand up, and then they did something together. Pretty good. Who else have we seen there? Seen Motorhead there several times. Squeeze, seen Squeeze there 3 or 4 times. Seen a lot of the big arena acts at arenas, but in a small venue. I'm just trying to think who else I've seen there. Oh, seen Tapau there. Do you remember Tapau, Carol Decker? Well, I have a weakness for redheads. It's like my kryptonite, that. And Carol Decker, really. I mean, I've not seen her recently, but she was a good-looking woman for me, for my taste. And I remember I was with my girlfriend, and we were on the front row watching Tapau, and Carol Decker. I couldn't believe this. It was unbelievable. Carol Decker comes out, and she's got this like leotard, very high cut legs on it, fishnets, with this leotard over the top. She's singing the first half of the show. And obviously I zoom in straight in on her, because, you know, I like her, I like the look of her. And I've always liked her. So anyway, she comes out doing a set, and I'm mesmerised because she's had a wardrobe malfunction, and she's not realised. We're right on the front row. This high-cut leotard had left a copious amount of flange hanging out on one side of it. And I can't remember the rest of the concert because all I was doing was watching this. I just couldn't stop. It was unbelievable. My girlfriend's laughing her head off. But she was looking as well, like you do. And then it goes for the half-time interval, and obviously somebody must have said, "Look, you know, showing a bit of fanny there, Carol, you know, get yourself sorted out." And then she come out in a different outfit second half, and you know, decency was resumed. But I'll never forget that day where I was like 3 feet away from Carol Decker's minge. Yeah. So who else have I seen there now? Trying to think. Madness. Seen Madness there. Probably seen Bad Manners there as well. I think I've seen Bad Manners there. Never seen the Specials there. Oh, I'll tell you I've seen there. Billy Bragg. Seen Billy Bragg. Who else was with Billy Bragg that night? I can't remember. I've seen that many bands over the years. It's unbelievable. Yeah, so before I got sidetracked, I can't remember what I was doing now. Oh, we're doing Winston Does Rock, haven't we? Right. So, eBay. Is it easy or what? Business. Is it easy or hard? And, you know, I've got to look at Shakespeare. He wrote all about this, didn't he? To list or not to list? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of making a massive fortune. So he knew all about eBay. You know, a few hundred years in the future. Visionary. So, what do you think, kiddies? Is eBay easy? Or is it hard? Is it tough? Well, it depends, doesn't it? If you're doing it as a hobby, and all you've got to do is sell that every week, with one item, piece of piss, isn't it? If you want to make a living out of it, it isn't as easy. There's a lot of components to a sale. Now, for one sale, that's pretty straightforward. But to get a living out of it, you've got to replicate that. Well, last month we sold 1,020 items. So we have to replicate that 1,020 times within that month. So I've broke it down here. I mean, I did go over it a little bit last week, but I'm going to go over it in a little bit more depth, the components. So first of all, you've got sourcing. Take it into account that you all know the basic mechanics of eBay, of how to list and how to search and all that sort of stuff. So the first thing is sourcing. Now, it's how to source efficiently. If you're only selling a small amount of items, time is of less importance. But if you're selling a lot of items, or you want to sell a lot of items, time is your biggest enemy. Including money, of course, to buy the stock, but time is the one that you really want to be thinking about if you want to grow it to any level. We've got our sourcing down now to a fine art. We can sort of like, if we wanted to, we could buy 6 times a year at the moment, because we've got a massive backlog anyway, so we've got stock to work on, and we can pick and choose when we buy items. So of our working week, the actual sourcing is a very, very small percentage. The money is a different matter, because obviously we've had to borrow to get where we are, but that money's getting paid off now, so to us it's not a problem. And is it bad to make a loss every now and then? Well, I don't think it is, because everybody will make mistakes. Whether you send the wrong item out to the wrong customer, like I did on Friday, which I've never done in my life before, and I'm blaming the label printer, because I've sent a silver bracelet out to a guy who bought a badge, and I'm just waiting for the woman who bought the bracelet to say that she's got the badge. So luckily I've got 2 of the badges, so I've said to him, I will send you the other badge out on Monday, which was when I should have sent it anyway. I sent it on Friday early, but we have next day dispatch. Well, I thought I'll be a good boy and I'll send everything out, stay ahead of the game. And for some reason, I don't know how I've done it, because I pack each one individually, I've done something wrong at the packing side, because I usually double check everything. Anyway, I've said to him I'll send him the other badge out, so I've ended the listing, so it was a 2-item listing. I'm going to send him the badge on Monday. I'm going to send it in a large letter envelope box instead of an envelope, and in there I will put another large letter envelope with a large letter stamp with a label on to the woman's address, and he said he'll post the bracelets to her as long as I pay for that postage. So that's no problem. The problem's sorted. And then obviously as soon as it comes to Monday, I will message her and say this is what we're doing. It'll be a couple of days late. Keep the badge that I've sent you in error. Don't worry about that. Keep it. And obviously keep the bracelet. You've paid for the bracelet. So we're not making a loss, because these items cost us next to nothing and they've sold for decent money. But then again, sometimes you'll buy something that you'll think you'll make a lot of money on, and you get it home, it's a bit damaged, you've got to sell it for parts, you've got to do whatever, and you're going to make a loss. Now, to me, that isn't a problem, because we've got so much going through the business. But even at the early stages, don't get hung up on making a loss. If you make a loss on an item, as long as you learn from that loss, it isn't a problem. Just keep going. it's all about keeping your momentum to get this eBay game, as I call it, ticking along nicely. And if you start getting obsessed about bad customers or losses or item not received cases, item not described cases, if you start taking it all personally and get into battles with these customers, you'll be the one who ends up losing out, because it'll make you all bitter and twisted, and it'll stop you from working, get you upset and stuff. So obviously we've got the sourcing. As you get bigger and you start selling more, you need to find efficient ways of sourcing. So buying in bulk, getting contacts who can supply you in bulk, buying in auction at bulk, buying off eBay in bulk. There's loads of job lots go through eBay. You can buy one of those. And there's a lot of people on eBay who don't know what they're doing, who sell stuff for dirt cheap, and it gets delivered to your door, and then you can reprice it and put it back on. There's also retail arbitrage, isn't there? You can buy stuff on sale, buy it in bulk, maybe wait a few months till it's like Christmas or whatever, and bang it back on and make a profit. So the first component of a sale is you've got to source the item. Then you get it home, and you need to check it, don't you? Because obviously in the dim auction room, or in the excitement of the antiques fair, or in the euphoria of cancer research, you see this item, you think, yeah, I'm going to make a fortune on that. You get it home, you look at it, and there's a split in the box. Or you count the jigsaw, and there's 3 pieces missing. So the next thing you've got to do is obviously you've got to check an item. If you're buying job lots, I would say when you get home, thin it out. Get everything out of there that you want to sell and you know you're going to sell, and you know you're going to list. The rest of the scrap, you can either put it into themed boxes, say in your garage or your shed or something. So say you buy, like we buy mixed small antiques. Buy a load of badges, and they come in, and there's 3 Nazi badges. Well, straight away I know I can't sell them, so they'll go in a badge box. There might be bits of scrap silver in there that's damaged, that can't be sold because it's got splits in it, or the hallmarks rubbed or whatever. Cut all that up, stick it in the scrap silver bag. Go through the postcards. Now we don't sell as much as we can help the Continental Moderns, we only sell the older cards, so rip all the Continental Moderns out that are no good, bundle them up and either re-put them on eBay as in job lots, or if it's not even worth doing that, just throw them away. Put them in the recycling bin. So checking the items in and doing your sort of like thinning down at that point, you will not end up with these big massive piles of boxes that when you look at them you think, oh, I've got loads of stuff here and I'm overwhelmed with it, and I've just got these death piles and I don't know what to do and all this. If you sort out the stuff that you know you're going to list, you're going to condense it down to good quality listable stock. The rest of it, just throw it away. Don't feel bad that you have to throw something away, because a lot of the time it's hanging around, it's worthless, it's taking up space, it's making a mess, and it's lulling you into a false sense of security when you forgot a few weeks later, when you forget what you bought. You think, you see this big pile of boxes, you think I've got tons of stuff here, but then when you actually start going through it, you've probably got half what you think you've got. So we check the items in, get them into our back stock, ready for listing. Now what we do here is we sort of like sort it as well, like ephemera, badges, smalls, and like a few weeks ago I bought a load of these things, you know, the bottle openers. So I put all them in a little tub. I don't know where my tub is, my little listing tub. So what I do is I just put them in a little tub like that, and that's a day's listing. So then I will photograph what's in that tub and list it. So I try and theme it so that I'm working on the same things all the time. Today I've been working on cloth badges, military patches. So basically I just work through those, I store them by category, and then I'll list them by category, so that I'm not doing like 2 of this and 3 of the other. Try and make it as efficient as possible, and that's all part of the checking in process. Anything that's slightly dodgy, slightly damaged, or I'm not sure whether it's genuine, goes into a tub to be resorted. Things sometimes with a lot of stuff I sell, excuse me, my allergies are playing up at the moment. Some of the things that I sell, I can't identify it straight away. I might have to buy a book, or might have to do further research. And again, it's all part of this efficiency thing. If I've got to spend too long researching it, it's no good me spending an hour trying to find the identity of a badge. I'll do 1 or 2 things. I'll list it as an unidentified badge and stick it on eBay, and then usually some expert will tell you what it is. Or I'm in a few Facebook groups for different types of things. I'll put it on there and get an answer off those. If I can't get any answers, I'll just throw it in the problem box, the unidentified, the dodgy, and all that lot, and it'll probably get sold off in a job lot somewhere. So after everything's checked in and you're ready to, you've sorted your stock and you've got your pile of stock in there, ready for photographing, the next thing that we do is we will clean what's in that box. Now with the older stuff, you've got to be careful with the cleaning, because if you over clean stuff, you can take away the patina, which some collectors want, but obviously you don't want like dirty stock, nicotine or excessive dust and dirt. So you've got to clean it. So we've just done. I don't know where they are now. I've got a big pile of keys somewhere. I can't remember what I've done with them. Anyway, they're going on in the next few days. Big bag of keys. Oh, I don't know what they are. Anyway, doesn't matter. So we've got this big bag of keys. So they're all rusty and dirty and dusty. So the first thing I've done is I've put them in a plastic bag and I've sprayed WD-40 in there. And then when they come out, before photographing, I'll give them a wipe over. So they'll still have a patina on them, but all the excessive rust will come off with the WD-40. So you get your cleaning your items. So you've done your sourcing, you've checked it and sorted it, you've done the cleaning. Next thing is to photograph it, isn't it? So again, we photograph in bulk, maybe 50 items at a time. Get all the photographs done, get them uploaded onto my computer. And if you put them in your computer, they'll file by day or week or whatever which way you want to do it. You can put them in folders, you can put them in batches, you can do them any way you want. And you can click on the top and get extra large icons. So if you do it on a computer, we have it on extra large icon. So they're that big, the pictures, when they're on the thumbnails, when you're sort of like looking to pick them. Because if you list a lot of similar stuff and the little icons are like that, you can't work out which one's which, and it wastes time again. So we have the extra large icons, and what I do is at the listing part, I've got my box of stuff here, I've got my photographs on the screen, and whatever the first photographs on the screen is, I find them in the box, get that item out, list it. So as I list it, I'm looking at it in case there's anything apparent, and I also measure it at the time. And we use to measure for badges and buttons and stuff like that, we use one of these, which is a digital micrometer. As you can see there, it's sort of like it measures the gap between those two, and then that size, if you want to measure the inside diameter of say a pipe or something, you can use that. And if you want to measure the depth of something, you can use that one at the bottom. So it's quite a good tool. They're only about £8. Really, really handy if you want to measure small items. So already we're up to 5 things that we've got to do here, haven't we? We've got to source it, we've got to check it, we've got to clean it, we've got to photograph it, and we've got to list it. And then once it's listed, we've got to store it, haven't we? So what are you going to do? Well, the answer is SKU. which I don't know what SKU stands for, but for me it's like a stock identification code. So I know exactly where an item is. When I first started, I didn't do that. And those are the items now that crop up every so often. One of the old items sells, and it's like such a waste of time when we're picking. Whereas all the other items are SKU'd, it's dead simple. So for a postcard, it's in E243. So I just go and look over there in the skips. We've got these big skips, and it'll say on the front E200 to E250. So I know 243, they're all in order inside the bags. So I know 243 is in there, pull the bag out, there's a maximum of 50 cards in a bag. As they sell, obviously those bags thin down quite considerably. So I'm not going to have to look through more than 50 cards to find that. Sometimes the first one, sometimes the last one, sometimes it's somewhere in the middle. So it's pretty straightforward and it's pretty foolproof. If we didn't have SKUs now, we wouldn't have the level of stock we've got now, because we'd be spending so much time packing, we'd never be able to get any listing done. So your storage, really, you need to get organised into your storage side of it. Get your proper boxes that'll fit your stock, and there's no point in having the deep boxes if your items are this big. Get the shallow boxes, stack them up in lines. Fragile items, I'd say wrap them. We use foam wrap, so we wrap them in foam wrap and then we write on the tape in a marker the number. So like at the moment we've been doing the shipping stuff, and there was loads of ashtrays. So we've got a box that goes in the loft, L002, and it'll be L002 28. So each one of them's got a number written on it, so we know it's an L002, pull L002 out, and all we've got to do is look for 28, but obviously before we send it out we double check it just in case a mistake has been made, because we're only human. But it makes it very, very simple to find rather than having to wade through mountains and mountains of stock. So we've done the sourcing, we've checked it, we've cleaned it, we've photographed it, we've listed it, we've stored it. Then 6 decades later it sells. So what have we got to do then? We've still got things to do, you know. This is one item. This is where people don't realise the amount of work that's involved. Even just in one item, there's quite a bit of work. Just it's spread out. So you've got to pack it. So when you first start, you start using all sorts, don't you? Any box you can get your hands on, go to the supermarket, go to shoe shops, scrounging bubble wrap off people, scrounging out the fruit in the fruit and veg aisle, buying cheap tape. But as you get bigger and as you get more to send out, it's a fallacy to try and find free packaging. Unless you've got somebody who can drop packaging off for you free, I would say you'll be much better off buying packaging. We have all our packaging laid out here, so within arm's reach here I've got card-backed envelopes for postcards, got card-backed envelopes for larger items. This is all within reach. We buy these by the 1,000, bubble mailers, and then all the boxes are over there in the corner. It's a little bit further to reach, but it's still technically within reach. So we buy all our packaging now. We still get the odd free box, because obviously things get delivered and, you know, the box is handy. But I would say that to increase your efficiency as your business grows, you're probably better off buying packaging. And don't forget, it's a tax write-off. So 30% of that, if you're actually making profit, will be written off against tax, really, because you're not paying £10, you're paying £7, aren't you? Because 30% of it would have been profits, and it would have been, well, the whole £10 would have been profit originally, and with your tax and national insurance, 30% of it would have gone to the government. So posting, you've done your packing. So how many procedures have we got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 procedures. Then you got to post it. Now I would say with this, that posting, the quicker you post, the better. We have next day delivery, next day dispatch I should say, not delivery, next day but dispatch. But we also have express delivery option, which I'd recommend you all doing really. You can put your normal postage on and you can do another postage underneath and just leave it on every listing for express, which is special delivery. Royal Mail special delivery guaranteed next day, and you'd be surprised at the number of people who take you up on that and will pay for it. We had this week, we've sold 3 items that are going to different programs. I can't remember what the one's called now. Something Way. It's on Amazon Prime. Anyway, it's some sort of like Victorian drama, and they're filming it in Prague. They bought a hit flask off us. Doctor Who bought old-fashioned tape measure off us, and Grantchester, which is the ITV programme, bought a medal off us this week, and they paid for special delivery because the option was there. If we hadn't have had special delivery, maybe they would have bought somebody else's that did have special delivery because they needed it quick, and cost doesn't come into it when people need stuff quick. So I would say with your posting, the quicker the better, and have that option on there as well, express option, and then it'll come up on your listing that you've got an express option as well. They can click on that and they can pay for special delivery. So it gives you two postage options there then, the standard one and the express. Now on our feedback, when you look at our feedback, I'm just going to click on my store now. Obviously you lot won't be able to see it, but the main component of our feedback always seems to be speed. I think what we'll do is we'll do the eBay autumn updates next month, next week I should say, because we're up to 42 minutes already. I've still got loads of stuff to go through here. So I'll go through the last 10 feedback here now. Excellent goods, first class service. Yeah, no problem. Smooth transaction with very fast delivery. Arrived in good time and as described. As described, swift dispatch, good vendor. Great seller, very happy. Cracking image to add to my Navy collection, thank you. Nice item, nice item, nice item. Excellent and rapid transaction. Interesting item, very good condition, care taken in packaging. Perfect transaction. So they're always good, but nearly all of them, or not all of them, but at least half of them, always mention here, excellent photo, super fast delivery. So all the time, delivery comes into it. Customers expect things. They bought something, they expect it to be, you know, they don't want to wait 2 weeks for it. They want it pretty quick. They're not desperate for it because we sell collector's items, but when it arrives quicker, you do yourself a favour. Now, we quote second class delivery with a 1-day dispatch. So if somebody orders on a Monday, we don't have to post it out till Tuesday. And because we quote second class as our delivery option, I think that says that it should arrive Thursday or Friday. But if a sale comes in on a Monday and we're up to date with the packing from the weekend and Edward's still packing, a sale comes in on a Monday, 9 times out of 10 we'll send it out on a Monday. Now we quote second class, but we always send first class. We don't penny pinch on postage. So sometimes they will get that item before it was even supposed to be sent out. Now we always under-promise and over-deliver with our postage. If you can only manage to send stuff out once a week, do whatever you do, put like next day delivery and stuff like that. You have to be able to promise something that you can easily achieve and probably do better than. So if you under promise and over deliver, you will have less problems. Now, speed of dispatch can be crucial in problems with the customers, because if an item's late and it arrives, they're already in a bad mood because it's late. Some people don't care, but the ones that do, when it's late, you've already put them on a downer. So if you send it quickly, you're less likely, in my experience, to get problems with the customer quibbling about an item. If they're in a bad mood, then they start looking at the item going, oh, it's took ages to come this. Oh God, look at the state of it. Oh dear, that's wrong with it. Before you know it, you're getting a message, I'm disappointed with this item, blah de blah de blah. So, like I say, if you can, send it out as quick as possible. Send it quick and lessen your problems. So we've done the posting, the item gets there. What do we do about feedback? Well, we have our feedback automated. We don't leave feedback for anybody unless they have left feedback for us. So the ball is in their court. They're the customer. The customer, if he's unhappy, will let you know about it, either in a message or in feedback. If they're happy, they'll let you know about it. Some people won't. They'll just buy it and think, well, why should I? They'll send feedback. I've got my item. I'm happy. I'll leave it. 50% of people do, don't they? eBay will send me a reminder every so often to send people feedback. I don't do it. I will only have an automated. I have automated feedback. So as soon as they send me feedback, it gives them a positive feedback, obviously, because we have to give a positive, and it's got 5 or 6 random messages, and it just picks one of those. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in not pestering people for feedback. I get messages. I buy stuff on eBay all the time, stock to resell. I never leave feedback. I buy the item. The only time you're going to hear off me is if there's something wrong with it. I don't leave feedback. But then I'll get a message 6 weeks later. You bought an item off me. Could you please leave feedback? You've not left any feedback. Don't do that if you can help it. It puts me in a bad mood. I don't like it. You know, I'm a customer. I've bought it. I'm happy with it. You've not heard anything of me. If a month's gone by, 99 times out of 100, you're not going to hear anything. Forget about me. Don't start bothering me 6 weeks later for feedback, because it pisses me off. So if it's pissing me off, I know I'm a bit of a grumpy old sod, but if it's pissing me off, you can bet your life it's pissing a few other people off. So never ever bother for feedback. And don't start sending feedback out late, really. Just leave it to the automation. Let sleeping dogs lie. Because you can remind people of bad purchases, they can get you mixed up with someone else, and you can open a tin of worms. Now, the next thing we do is archive an item. Because if you look at our solds, even though we've done 14,000 quid this last month and 10,000, so we've done 24,000 in the last 60 days. If you look at my 60-day total there, 8,278. And the reason for that is because as soon as an item leaves me feedback, I archive it. And when you archive them, they don't show up on the app anymore in terms of like your 60-day total. That's only live items that could create a problem. Because if I look now on my seller dashboard and I go into my orders, on the orders tab when it decides to thing up, see all orders today, please, if you could. Oh, eBay's running slow here. Right. Yeah. All orders, 8,080.26. So they're virtually identical, because I've archived a load of them, to that figure that's on there. That's not quite updated, but that's showing, oh no, it is 8,080.26. So it's exactly what I've got left as live orders. So what I do is I archive my orders, because I don't want loads of them fouling up my seller hub, you know, the outstanding orders, because while they're live, they're still potentially a problem. Someone could say they've not received it, someone could say it's damaged, somebody could try and cancel it. So as soon as I leave me feedback, straight away I archive it. So every night I go through and I archive it, and I also archive anything over 32 days old that hasn't left feedback. So constantly, every night I am archiving as many as I can get away with. So that's why on my manage all orders at the moment, it's only showing 427, yet in the last 60 days we've probably had 1,500 to 2,000 orders, because I'm constantly archiving them. And then I know then that the maximum I'm going to ever have to refund there would be 8,000 quid, which you know you're not going to have to do, but it just gives me peace of mind. Yeah, so that's basically it. When we look at that, really, for one item, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then archiving it 10. So there's 10 little procedures there. Now, obviously, if you're getting busier, you can speed some of these up. Like we said, the sourcing bulk, set up contacts, get a regular supply of similar items. The checking we can do, and the sorting, because if we buy similar items all the time in bulk, we can check them easier, and we can organise them into containers like that, ready for listing. Cleaning, you can't really save time unless you keep buying better stuff. The photographing, obviously you can save time if you're photographing batches, and you photograph similar items, so you can get your setup ready. You know, like if it's something that needs to be stuck on with a bit of blue tack, you can just do one bang, one bang, one bang, and just keep doing that. For listing, we can speed that up by listing similar items, so we don't have to change categories. So like say for example you're listing photographs, for example, you would put them in the photograph category. Now before you list them, obviously you've got to scan them in. So the way I do it is there's two photograph categories. There's pre-1940 and post-1940. So I would sort those photographs into two piles, the older ones and the newer ones. I'd scan the older ones, then I'd scan the newer ones. Obviously I'd watermark them all. Then I know that I don't have to change that category at all until when I start listing them as the pictures come down in order. I don't need to change that category. I can keep it the same until I get to a certain point where the newer ones click in. I can do the new category, and then I can do the new item specifics. So again, try and list it like that. So say if you're doing clothes, you know, photograph all the the t-shirts together, photograph all the jeans together, get it like a production line, and then list them as you go. You could even go to the stage of like all the different sizes. So with photographs, say I was doing photographs, I'd do the 1940s ones, I'd group them all in different sizes, because obviously on the title I'm going to put it's a 3.5 by a 2.5 inch. So then I don't want to be doing the next ones a 5 by a 3.5. I want to do all the 3 by 2.5s together, and then I go on to the next size, the next size, the next size, then I go on to the different category, and then I start again in the sizes. So if you organise it like that, your listing procedure, there's less basis for error, and also it's going to be a hell of a lot quicker. The storage, again, buy the right containers to store the right items, and your SKUs. You're going to speed your process up. The packing, as you get busier, don't be afraid to buy some. Buy the packing, buy the correct sizes for what you need, speed that process up. you know that straight away you've got so many of those. You can just, like, I get small, large letter items, pick a handful of them up, do all my large letter items, done, label them, gone. Posting, you can speed that up, you can slow it down, that's up to you. But like I say, the quicker the better on that. But you can't really speed the process up apart from getting a label printer, maybe buying your eBay labels off eBay and do click and collect where you can just drop them off. That would make it a little bit more efficient. Feedback, automate it, you don't have to worry about feedback, it's not your problem. And then every day just do archive some of your items, and it should streamline it a little bit. So I hope everyone else's sales are going okay. We've got a few other little things to do. For some reason my chest has gone all funny. I don't know why that is. Right, yeah. So we've done the John Cooper Clarke, we've done Winston Does Rock with Bomber. We've got, I hope you're all doing okay. It should be a bit slow, I think, for another week or two, because I've looked at last year's figures for these days and they did drop a bit. It's been a bit of a struggle for us today. I think it's 350 quid in the end. But, you know, I listed a hell of a lot of stock today and some of it sold straight away. So start listing now, start building up for Christmas. Well, it's not Christmas, is it? It's really sort of like November. November and the first week and a half of December, and then it goes dead. December is usually our lowest month of the year when you count the whole month, because the last 2 weeks of December and the first week of January are a waste of time. But they're an excellent time to be sourcing on eBay. You'll pick up some bargains, believe it or not. Yeah, so I hope everyone's doing alright. I hope you're all preparing for a little bit of a busier period now. But this busier period, everyone calls it Q4 and all this, there's a big hype over it. Unless you're selling toys, you'll see a little bit of growth in sales, but it's not Q4, it's October, November, back end of January, February, March, maybe a bit of April, and then it goes back down again. It's winter versus summer, really, and people doing less outside and doing more inside. That prompts them to start buying more over the quieter months, because they're not out and about buying, they're in and about buying. So right, what have we got next? On this day, 8th of September, we have what happened? The Watergate scandal. Now everything's gate now, isn't it? This gate, that gate. Anything that happens now, it's always got gate after it. It all comes from the Watergate scandal. And the Watergate scandal was a major American political scandal that lasted from 1972 to 1974, following a burglary by 5 men of the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate office in Washington on June the 17th, 1972, and President Richard Nixon's subsequent attempt to cover up his administration's involvement after the 5 burglars were caught and the conspiracy was discovered, chiefly through the work of a few journalists, congressional staffers and election finance watchdog officer. Watergate was investigated by the United States Congress. Meanwhile, Nixon's administration resisted its probes, which led to a constitutional crisis. So it must have been the end of the Watergate scandal on this day. So, births on this day. Well, we've only got, and I didn't realise he was 47, Martin Freeman. Obviously, from The Office. Does the Vodafone ads now? Is it the Vodafone ads? He does one of the phone ads anyway. He's been in Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, loads of other stuff. A Hobbit, Unexpected Journey. He's done 3 flavours of the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead. He's done loads of stuff, but I remember him really as Tim in The Office, and I didn't realise he was 47. He's only 5 years younger than me. Yeah, so he's done really well. Active from 1997. But when you think about it, The Office was 2001, I think. Just trying to see on here where he was. Yeah, his notable role as Tim Canterbury in The Office, a role which he said in 2004 cast a very long shadow on him as an actor. So I think that was in the 2000s that. He also appeared in a sitcom called Hardware. Appeared in several films including Ali G, In the House and Love Actually, and then he's done loads of other stuff, Black Books, all sorts of stuff since then. Yeah, so happy birthday, Martin Freeman. Now we're going to end on a poem, and because it's 2:23 in the morning, I thought we would have a little ghosty one, like I promised last week. And it's Edgar Allan Poe, Master of the Macabre. He only lived from 1809 to 1849, 40 years of age. He died when he was 40, Edgar Allan Poe. And it's called The Haunted Palace. Ooh. So I'm going to get my hair cut next week. I'm going to go and get a #1, I think. I'm fed up with this. So here we go. Won't be easy to read, this one. In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch thought's dominion, it stood there, never seraph spread opinion over fabric half so fair. Banners yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow, till all this was in the olden time, long ago. And every gentle air that died in that sweet day, along the ramparts plumed and pallid, a winged odour went away. Wanderers in that happy valley through 2 luminous windows saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law. Bound about a throne was sitting, in state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen, and all with pearl and ruby glowing was a fair palace door, through which came flowing, and sparkling evermore, a troop of echoes whose sweet duty was but to sing, in voices of surprising beauty, the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon thee desolate. And round him, about him, his home, the glory that blushed and bloomed, is a dim, remembered story of an old time entombed. And travellers now within that valley through the red-litten windows see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody, while like a ghastly rapid river through the pale door a hideous throng rush out forever and laugh but smile no more. Bit about Ghosty Castle. Not a bad one, that. Not bad for old Edgar. Yeah, so that's it. Bad enough. Good old bed. Might have a bit of Game of Sniper Elite. Put it on the hard mode now. A lot better. So, I'll speak to you lot next week. Hopefully, with some sales. Bye.